Tonight you're in for a real treat as we have our 40-year principals taking a look back on the memories from their big year.
David, what do you remember of when you were asked to be Cornet?
I've got a lot of memories obviously, but the first thing that comes back is when I got a phone call off the left-hand man, Derek Ingalls. It was a Sunday night, and he asked us if I would come down to his house. He bought a house, and if I would measure up for some flaring, and which I did, and I was there for about an hour and a half, and as I put my hand on the door to come away, he says to us, would you like to be High Cornet? Have you thought about being Cornet? And I just about fell through the flare, which was great. And he says, well, you're in the running, and that's the kind of way they done it in the days. I don't think much has changed that. So he said, if you're in with a shout, you'll get a knock at the door on Tuesday night. Well, Tuesday night couldn't have come quick enough. I never slept when I got home, and the whole coming round went through my head. And sure enough, on Tuesday night, Bruce Campbell and Davy Brown came at the door and asked us, and I accepted, obviously, and I never slept again that night, and did the whole 6 weeks and one night in my sleep, and it was absolutely brilliant to be asked to be High Cornet.
Morag, what was your reaction when David asked you to be his lass?
Excitement, and then apprehension and thinking, oh heck. But after I met everybody in the Big Eight, it was great because they just made us relax. They'd been in the same position, and I just really enjoyed it, and it was great.
Did you have an acting father in mind, and how did you approach him?
Well, there's a wee story to that. Tom and Maureen bed 3 doors along from me at Silverbit Hall, and it was friendly anyway. And I used to see Tom regular clearing his bits outside his front door before he went to the ride out. Used to have a chat with him now and again. And was coming back from Hospital, and I was just a laddie like, and I'd fell off. The horse jumped the ditch, and I didn't. And this Tom came along and picked us up and put us on the back of the horse, and that was a great friendship made there and then, and that was it, sorted. That's where I was picking for Martin Feather.
Tom, what was your initial reaction to being asked to be David's acting father?
Well, I can remember it very, very clearly. It was New Year time, and I got a visit from the late ex-acting father and ex-Cornet Chuck Hollins. And we had a couple of drinks and a chat, and he said to us, have you ever had any notions or thoughts of being acting father if you got the opportunity? So I said immediately away, I says, that would depend where the Cornet was. And he says, well, David Blacklock's hot favourite. And my answer was, definitely. And here we are.
Maureen, how do you feel when Tom was asked?
Really excited and very proud that he'd been asked. When I knew it was David, that was it. It was really, really good.
And can you all tell us what your best memories are from 40 years ago?
I'll just start with plural.
Yeah, please.
There's loads of memories, you can. There's been a lot of changes over the years. First of all, if I could just say 1 or 2 things that I can remember, and you can enlighten us on some if you can remember. In the days, nobody wore hats when they went the ride-outs, and it was put in the paper that the young riders were requested to wear headgear, but nobody really wore them. The kids maybe did, but the adults didn't. And you would just never get away with that nowadays. There was the dipping of the flag, when we went to the dipping of the flag on the Friday, and in the days, the acting feather didn't get to go on, which was a wee bit, it was a kind of, but after the coming in was by, we wished we'd maybe said something and made that happen, but it didn't, but it got introduced years later. But Tom didn't get to go into the flag, and he totally missed it, and he was a wee bit gutted with that, but that's been changed now, but that didn't happen in our day.
Was there a particular reason why the acting father wasn't able to go back then?
I think
Just tradition.
Sorry?
Just tradition.
Aye, it was the ins that runny in the days, your Chuck Willinses and thing, you had to listen to the guys and they kept you right, and you just, whatever they said, if they says jump, he jumped, and you just done everything they said, and we never thought we was doing it wrong, and after it was by, that's when we kind of said, I wish we'd said something then. And I think it was when Sam Barker was acting father, am I right, Tom?
Yes, correct. 86.
Well, Cess Willins was Cornet, and that's when it was changed, if you like. The acting father gone to the couple call to the flag. So that's just a wee thing there, and I think I've got another thing, but the lassies will enlighten you in this bit. The lassies went home through the ball pretty early in the days. They were they needed their beauty sleep, as we used to call it, and we used to go to the bar again. But anyway, so they'll maybe enlighten you on what time they went away. I can't right mind. Can you remember when they went away?
Before 12.
Before midnight.
Just after the
Just
reel,
after
was
the
Like
it?
reel.
Cinderella.
It was just
The
after the
reel was
reel,
on, and then
and
right
the
when
taxi
he's-
was
The
waiting,
taxi's waiting at the door for him.
And they were
and he just
foaming.
went down the stairs
Down the
and
stairs and
taken him.
he stayed. It was really... That
Would
was,
you
that
like-
doesn't happen now.
Would you like to have stayed longer?
oh yes.
Aye, yeah.
Yes.
Aye, because we missed the moat, we didn't get up the moat or anything, or the reel at the tour now, didn't do anything like that. We missed all that, which they do now and which is great.
Yeah.
Again, which
that
they
was
should
one
be
thing that
involved.
was changed that was good, I think. But it was funny and
Aye, it was odd.
Yeah.
It was odd.
Again, we just had to do as we was dealt.
he just didn't question it, did he?
No.
Really?
Nah.
But as I say, there's a lot of great memories there, and for me, kind of picking night in the house, and I've got a lot of memories of it, but there's some's a wee bit vague. But the big thing was I was the first cornet to have the smoker in the town hall, because before that in 1980, it was all, and after that, before that I should say, was in the tour now.
To
In
the hotel.
The tour hotel, sorry. And it got shut down, so there was no functions in there. And I was the first cornet to come into the town hall for the smoker. Am I right, Tom?
That's correct, yeah.
So, and it was a great honour. Obviously, that night coming into the smoker, and you walked in and everybody's clapping, and you get sitting down, you get your badge office that night, and you just feel on top of the world. It's absolutely brilliant. And then when we went, in the days he went back to the Cornet's house afterwards for a wee party. Now I think they're gone somewhere, because the house is just to get in a wee bit of a state, to be fair. But no, getting my badge was a big thing. And then it kind of sunk in that the road ahead was, the long road ahead, and it was important to do the job right, and I had a great honour in doing that.
It was really special, wasn't
No,
it?
it's very special.
The whole thing was really special.
Again, leading up to the ride, you had the firms that got in early January, and I always remember we went into the car, and it was your car, Tom, and who's got a Hummel now, is the Jock Richardson's, the first farmer. He says he's always a yes, he'll be fine, we'll get half a dozen done the night. Went to his house, he was getting a shave in his back room, and he came through into the wee kitchen, he bet Kinuaka on a beer and sat down and says, "I'm sorry boys, you're not getting across." I didn't know what to say, I was just sitting there. And so he just said that the flapping boys had spoiled it, because they'd been galloping across his ground, and they fell out, I think, and he just says, "That's it, the horses are not getting back." So I kept my horse at Ormiston Farm then in the days, and I was really pally with the farmer there, so we changed to go on to Bonchester then, if I remember right. Getting in the first field at Ormiston, the first field they got to Denham. We used that that year we used that into going to Bonchester. And there's loads of firms you got into, and you get a wee bit happy now and again with the drink. I can mind is Henry Douglas's. Henry was just a great guy, and he kept it easy in the house, and he gets the whiskey bottle out and he throws the cork into the fire, and I was thinking, what's all that about? And then that means you have to finish it, and I didn't think we could have bit our finger when we came out, but it was just brilliant, absolutely brilliant, going round the farms, and there's loads of other farms we went to, and So, again, getting back to the picking night, walking around the town on picking night with all the bairns was you can mind that, walking down to the Silverbit Hall and down and onto the street and along, and the kids are just around you, and you just feel like the king. You can, it's just an amazing feeling. And they've memories have never left us at all. Only other ex-Cornet will tell you probably the same or similar. You can. I reckon if you've got anything, Tom, I've got other things, but if you want to just join in with some stuff.
Well, obviously certain things come to mind to me too, David, and just to elaborate a little bit on what David mentioned before, my only regret of the entire Coleman riding was not being able to go to the Cobble Pool for the dipping of the flag, which was a symbol of marking the town's boundaries. The acting father's position was acting senior magistrate during that period, and I thought it was one of the things that was quite essential. Would mark the boundaries up at the cutting of the sword, and if acting father was there. Why he wasn't there at the Cobble called, I'll never know. However, that was how it was, and as David said, we followed the protocol. I was delighted in 1986 when Sam Barker was the first acting father to go down to the Cobble called at the dipping of the flag, and it's continued ever since. And I think it has enhanced it, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Some of the other memories I've got are very, very dear to Maureen and I's heart. And I think the first thing I should mention is the support that we got from the lasses. For the entire 6-week period, it was just immense. They're always there, dressed in their finest, always happy and supporting us. Sometimes they maybe weren't dressed in their finest. I can remember one incident when it was the ride out to Priesthoff on the Tuesday, and on the Monday evening, the lassies and the big four went up to the farmhouse to clear the barn and sweep the barn out for the concert the next day. So there was the lassies, this time not in the finery, but jeans and wellies, and if I remember rightly, Maureen had them all jumpers on. However, that went well, and the following day it was a great ride out. We had super concert in the barn, all freshly cleaned out, and the bar was a temporary one set up by the owner of the Monkeys. Is that right, David? It was the Monkeys bar that came. And we had a brilliant concert, better than any that we had in the Town Hall or anywhere else. Just very informal and great fun.
It was really good fun.
So that was one or two of the memories I had.
Yeah. And you gone on to maybe the lassies can say some stuff on the colour busing and jumping to ride with the colour busing, but that was a big night for myself and Morag, because she bussed the colour that night, and I was very proud of her. And she'll maybe say something about that. It's just a great feeling coming into the Town Hall, and the cornet and the right and left get linked, and they're down behind the flag, if you like, coming forward to the bottom of the stairs, and you're standing basically a few metres away through your last tying the ribbons on the flag, and it was a very very proud moment for myself and for Morag. That's right, and he was proud.
Nervous, but I remember walking in with the flag and then tying the ribbons on, and then the cornet came up and started doing it on the stage and thing like that, and I had to speak, and I could remember there's a clock on the balcony in front of me, and I focused on it. I couldn't tell you what the time was. I focused on it and I said my speech. Thank goodness, and that was it. I can remember that. Another memory is picking night, getting my badge at the Cornet Lassies Association, and then going back up to Dave's mum and dad's house, and he had his badge, and it was like, oh well, this is it. And that was another good night. And something that was quite funny, but it was the kirk on Sunday. We'd been at Wilton Church to get kirked, and you have to walk along the street. And, I remember walking along Princess Street and onto Mount Place, and my heart blew off, and Dave had to run after my heart and catch my heart and
I was quick in
back on my head. And I remember thinking, well, this is it, we've got a week to go, just make the most of it.
Yeah.
And we did.
I had that memory of sitting in the platform waiting when he coming in, and when Morag came in with the flag, I'll never forget it. It was really right emotional, really super. Good feelings, wasn't it?
We'll have a good eating now.
And again at the ride, it's usually, like say when he went to Bonchester, he went along to Weens to see the Aldians, and he went to a lot of homes, if you like, to see the Aldians. They played a big part in it, and you can. That was their common ride when he went to see them. Doesn't matter what inn he went to, they were all sitting waiting with their ribbons in, and
It made a lot.
sitting smiling away, and it was just again he made their day, and he made their common ride, and that was their common ride. And we used to go around the hospitals as well, and it was a wee bit emotional sometimes because some of them weren't very well, but
And going to the schools, that was,
The schools was
Aye.
amazing.
it was good. The kids were that chuffed to see, and
And when he went in and when
cheering and
Cornet went in,
everything.
and the cheer that went up.
aye.
And I remember one of my best memories was on Friday morning. We were getting into the car and we were coming along the street with the fifes and drums playing. And everybody looked that happy. And it was really amazing, wasn't it? Really good.
And another one is the Friday morning. We parked the car at the golf course to watch the chase on the Friday morning. And George, unbeknown to us, George Broomfield, our taxi driver at the time, he'd went away and got coffee and bacon rolls. So that was great. That was just little things like that, just stick in your mind.
and this will maybe prompt you, Tom, the Thursday night chase. You can, every Cornet goes up, the Upton feather goes up first, but it's your night. You get your badge office that night in the hat, and I can mind again the muckle grin on your face when you stood up to get that badge.
Yeah.
You mind what?
Memories are still there, David, and always will be. And I can go back and just think of that particular night, impressed in my mind forever.
Aye.
And that badge is there. I'll never move. Some of the memories just come back as you've been talking now, and I can think one in particular where, again, it really is a highlight, was when we rode after the cutting of the sword on the Friday morning, when we rode back to the moor, and I was entrusted with the banner and led the cavalcade down to the moor gates. That was something really special, and getting my hands on that famous blue banner was something I'll never forget.
Yeah.
Worth the whole thing put together.
There's loads of photos in that photo album there that we've made up, that scrapbook, and the photos are actually on that, Tom. Again, that was the Thursday night chase, but he had the Thursday morning, which was a big day for any Cornet, getting the banner blue for the first time, hand bust colour. And obviously, a lot of folks say to you, what was your best memory? You can, but if you ask any Cornet that, it's a wee bit unfair, because there's loads of memories, loads of Gideons, and you can't really pick you out. But I think most of them will tell you when you get the banner blue in Thursday or the Friday or the Saturday, it's absolutely brilliant. Thursday morning was special because it was the first time. Friday, you've got your green coat on after you've been to the colour burst the following day, and you're round the tune, you can, and everybody's cheering.
Everybody's that happy.
You're just, you're in a whirlwind. Everything's just 100 mile an hour, and you try to take it all in. But I've got a lot of great memories of it, and it was really great, a great time. As I say, the Friday again, round the cutting of the sod, and Guinea the banner at the cutting of the sod, Tom, and away he went. And I just wish that he got the gun away their cell, and I just wish that maybe I could have been a bit closer to when he was cantering along your cell, but that would have been special.
I never saw anybody, David.
That for the tears.
Yep, never saw anybody. That was obviously all the really serious parts of the common ride, and of course the common ride is a really serious thing, but there was lots of things that happened that were fun and things that would
A lot of things we
had
can't
the
tell
common
you.
ride. I can remember one in particular. Maureen said to me after the common ride was all finished, "Well, I'll not have to suffer David's bad breath anymore." I said, "What do you mean?" He says, "Well, every Saturday morning when he came up to get his stock tied, he'd obviously been out the night before at a dinner." He says, "I could have told you how many rums he must have drunk to smell his breath."
He used to say, turn your head away to tie the stock.
He didn't say it as nice as that.
On the Friday night, no, the Saturday night after the mayor, we all got dropped off. And in those days, the guys went to the greeting dinner, and the girls went for a meal or went for a drink or something like that. And we all went to the different houses and got changed, and we were to meet later on. And Maureen comes along the street. She had her mayor outfit on and the handbag and the hat, and he went, "What's happened?" She says, "I was locked out. I couldn't get in.
And
Tom's got the key."
I got a ladder. I thought I could get in the bathroom window, but unbeknown to me, my neighbour was watching. I had the hat on in the bag, and I got the ladder, and I couldn't get the window open to get changed to go. So here I was with my clothes that I had on at the moor, away out with them. I never got over that. That
was
It
funny.
was just fun.
Just things like that.
Again, after the hikes finish, you're away to Selkirk, and you've got other tunes as well, and made a lot of great friends with other tunes. You can still speak to them to this day. Keep in touch with them. We had a reunion for our 25th up at the Thorntons, and I said we would have another one, but we've never done that yet. But we see them all the time when we go into common rides or dinners or whatever. But yeah, we made a lot of good friends.
It's that the camaraderie with all the other tunes, isn't it?
It's really good.
It brings it all together, and that's what we're missing now. We know having
Yeah.
this
That's
is
right,
amazing. Doing this, it is, isn't it?
Well, I think one of the other things that as I've mentioned and is really very important was not just the support from the townspeople, but the support from the bairns. It's quite magnificent. Every common ride, it gets bigger and bigger. I remember very well on Thursday night when I made my speech up in Hartop, mentioning the night that David was picked, and the enthusiasm for the bairns just lifted me. And I said then that I'm quite sure this will continue, and that the bairns is a huge part of common ride. And it's proved to be right, because I think it's more now even than it was then.
But the Cornet's their hero. You can.
That's right.
That's right.
Aye.
I can mind after it was all finished, it was summertime, like July or something, and I was other kids were on holiday, and I was fitting a carpet in a living room at Mayfield, and in some of the houses the windows are right to the ground, and you can be aware of somebody's maybe watching you. Well, I happened to look up when I was fitting the carpet, and there's a dozen bairns at the window like this.
It's the Cornet.
It's a Cornet, and before long there was about 20 or 30 of them, and they're all singing, and it was just like, the common ride was finished, and I felt so proud, and I thought I went in my pockets, I had no change, I thought all the wee strife for them, I had no money, I had to say to the woman.
You never had any change, David?
So I think the woman helped us out some change, and I went outside, and I'm sure we sung, from memory, I'm sure we sung a wee song together, and it made their day, and I chucked them, but I can what it was, probably be items or something. And that was, again, I can't even remember what house it was, but again it was in Mayfield, and to see the kids were right up at the window looking in. It's a Cornet, it's a Cornet. Is he? Aye.
Remember when we had to learn to do the reel? That was a laugh, learning to do the reel for the ball, wasn't it?
Learning to sing was even worse when you went to
Adi Engels is to learn the old song, the old common ride song that we sing on common ride morning outside the Tower Hotel, as it was then. The old Deary Bus song, and the lines are very, very difficult, and I dare anybody to actually remember it. If you haven't got the book in front of you, it's virtually impossible. But fortunately we all know the tune, so we got through it.
It's pretty tough. Like. They didn't rhyme like the other song. Aye.
But you didn't really know until you're in it what all it means. Everything you have to do with it.
That's right,
It's right
aye.
important,
Aye,
everything.
definitely.
And the thing is, you make friends with the Big Eight. We've all made great
Lifelong,
friendships
yes.
in the following years and through the common riding and
Yeah.
things like that. It's great how we, well, the memories you make and the friendships that you make, it's great.
When you're Cornet and up in Feather, you get told to take a wee bit back seat after you went around the farms and in the rideouts. You get told to enjoy yourself and just go and back a bit and didn't worry if we're late or early. Let somebody else do that with the right and left do that. So when your first year, it's
More
a sake.
relaxed.
You are a wee bit like, but the sake when you're right hand man and left hand man, you've got a lot more important like timekeeping and making sure you're on time and organising meetings for the marshal. Just I think today with the rideouts, the common riding committee look after the common riding, but you've got a wee bit more responsibility with the rideouts.
Yeah.
But
You also, of course, by that time have the experience and the knowledge of what's going on and helping your new Cornet to
I was
do
quite
the same.
fortunate because Bruce Campbell's brother worked on a farm at Manchester.
I like the Bunchester
So
area.
that was very helpful. And then I picked Tommy Smith to be Cornet after me, and he was a farmer, so he was laughing. And so, because I can remember going to Billy Bell's, who's Feather Billy Bell, Willie Bell, and he said, "You weren't getting across this year, but seeing as you, David, you can get across because I used to keep a horse at his farm." And he says, "But that's it." He says, "Because there was a young boy last year went through my turnips on his pony, and that boy turned out to be my brother, Grant." However, he never actually said that. I think Billy Kent where it was, but he let it go across, and he says, "But this will probably be the last year you'll have to find somewhere else." Well, when Tommy was picked, you let him across enough because he was a farmer. He was just, he had a wee laugh at these things. It's the memories that keep flooding back to you.
And all the concerts you're invited to, folk at that place that you're there, it's amazing,
We
isn't
had
it?
two on Yin night, if I remember correct, is we went to Douglas Haig Court, and we was meant to go to Evergreen Hall the same night, and it was like we couldn't get out of Yin to go to the other, and we would run down the road, didn't we? And we were sitting waiting, and we had the full for the audience. It was meant to be there at like 8 o'clock, it was like 9:15, but
We got there.
Oh,
And just lastly, can you tell us a little about what you've brought with us today?
yes, we could have brought lots and lots more, but I brought my crop tray when I got that on the Friday, the common riding, and it's a wee bit special because it's got it has on it on every cornet, it's got Cornet in your name and your year. And mine they've spelt Cornet Coronet.
that's
But
unique.
I haven't changed that. I just got to keep it like that.
Absolutely
And,
unique.
so it's a wee bit. And there's another Cornet that's actually used that crop. He was a good friend of mine. It was Chris Ritson. He got a line of that for when he was Cornet. I also brought my Cornet's medal, which, believe it or no, I've never really worn it. I'm just keeping it as a keepsake. There's a lot of Cornet's lassies have them on a chain and thing. But it's there, and it's got the name and the date on the back. And you get that on the Friday before the ball, you eat at the dinner. And so I brought that along as well. And a good lady made this up. This is our scrapbook from 40 years ago. And it's black and white photos, coloured. You've got all the clippets out the papers. And it's got 1981 in it, and at the back it's got like maybe 6 pages of 1982, and the same for 1983.
Right, left unmanned.
So there's a lot in there. It's a wee bit fragile, but
Well, it is 40 years old and it's
Very
been looked
well
at and
put.
Must be well thumbed.
very well. You're very welcome to have a look through it,
Yeah.
and you'll get some laughs. You might not recognise a lot of folk like it. So that's it. And what else can I say? I was very honoured and proud to be High Cornet. It's a privilege.
And it was a privilege for Maureen and I to have been asked to be Morag Guthnie's acting mother, and its memories are still there, David, and as strong now as they were in 40 years ago.
Yeah.
And if you think about it right now, as you're sitting here, it's 2 weeks would have been picking
Picking
night.
night.
So
We-
40 years ago,
In a fortnight's time.
in a fortnight's time. We'd like to do it again then.
Would you be able to sit in a hall?
Try.
Thank you very much for that. I'm sure you can all agree that that was absolutely delightful. I hope you all had the tissues at the ready. Stay tuned for more interviews coming soon.